Are we ready to do this again?
And kids, they really cheered.
I'm starting this video down here specifically because in my last historical home renovation, a lot of you mentioned that I forgot to show you the tapestry curtain that I did. So this is it. This is how it looks in the hallway. Beautiful and functional. And now that we have that covered, let's talk medieval bedroom. Move over, Shiver. She is named after the Barbie film polar bear.
I'll call you Shiver.
So this is my bedroom. As a whole, it's very boring. Like, it's not ugly, it's nice, it's okay, it's just very boring. A lot of brainstorming to figure out. We went through a bunch of different phases. There was some brief celestial study kind of thing, and then we went into some gothic kind of areas too. We landed on medieval bedroom. Very much leaning into the castlecore aesthetic with this one. Going through the plan, wall by wall. We can't afford to buy a new bed, so we're just gonna have to work with it and try and get it to blend in a little bit. We bought a brand new lick paint. We've picked this beautiful red one, which I think is gonna look so nice and rich and cozy for the room. Putting up a curtain rail over the bed. Thrifted this very fancy grand set of curtains. Also going to be framing the really cool tapestry that we managed to thrift, which I showed you in the Q&A video. We've bought these 2 lanterns of different sizes. During our thrifting endeavors, we also managed to score this amazingly fancy set of historical cushions. I am actually really excited to dress the bed up. It's gonna make me feel like royalty. It's probably the thing I'm looking forward to most about this project, is having a really fancy bed. Moving to our right, we then have our IKEA wardrobe. Pretty much fills the whole wall on this side. For this, we wanted to use some foam to create arches in these panels. The plan is to do this with some foam clay and then to seal it, prime it, and paint it all black. And then moving around to our right once more. This is the wall opposite the bed. There's not really much we can do with the door, so we've decided to just put some trim around the frame, give it a quick black paint. We did buy some very cool iron hooks to replace the hooks on the door. You can see we've been testing some paint samples. Winner is the little beige patch here. This is a lime wash paint, so there's going to be a lot of texture in the wall overall. We will then be mounting our wedding sword on here, along with a massive shield that we have ordered, a cast iron candlestick holder, maybe some kind of hanging tapestry or something to try and cover the thermostat and the light switch. We haven't quite figured that part out yet. I'm just going to feel it out as the week goes on. Bought a massive rug to go under the bed as well, which should completely transform the space to be far more cozy. So that covers the basic plan. Start by drilling the holes that I need in this wall behind me, and then we're going to get the first coat of paint on. To do any of that, I must actually get changed into something a little bit more work appropriate, even though I forgot how much I love wearing this dress. For the comfort of your ears, all drilling portions of this project will be voiced over. Whilst I didn't mean to fall forward like that, I think we can all agree I recovered smoothly. Next, I had to move the bed out of the way to paint. This was the one and only time I filmed doing that because it got progressively more difficult to get it out of the way as the project went on. Sorry about the focus here, the camera didn't like me being in the corner.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
It finds me in a second. First coat of red is complete. I love lick paints. They always just go on so beautifully and they look amazing, and there's only 1 coat on there and it already looks like such a solid color. Next, I need to move on to doing the lime wash paint, which is going on all of the other walls. The issue with that is I now need to figure out a way to move over the bed and the part of the wardrobe that I've got on the floor so that I can access the other walls without that stuff touching the red wall because that's still wet. I'm not even gonna try and film it though. I managed to do it. Just about. It was like one of those Professor Layton games where you have to move everything around in the suitcase to get everything to fit in the suitcase. Only harder because it's real life and big pieces of furniture. I have emptied all of the walls of all of the sketches and I've moved them over and I've took the curtains down and it's looking creepily white in here now. Doing our test samples, we learned that we preferred how it looked if we watered the paint down a bit. I need to figure out a container I can put it into so I can water it down. I found a vessel. I have this unused container and the best thing about it is got a quarter, half and 3/4 measuring lines on it. So I can actually measure the ratio of paint to water for each batch that I do and hopefully get it as consistent as possible. Blessing. Success. Now I just have to try not to spill it everywhere. And that, kids, is why we have a sheet on the floor. Y'all are gonna see a lot of happy squealy dances from me this video. Can we all just agree that we are insanely bored of me painting now? Because I know I am. Don't ask me what the camera focus is doing. I think it's as tired as I am. Should we just skip ahead to it just being all painted and done? Let's do that, let's skip ahead. Your girl is so tired, but it is so beautiful in here. Also incredibly dark, so I'm not actually filming it very well, but trust me, it looks really pretty in person. I have been up since 0500 hours. It is now 1300 hours. I have done all of the second coats in the entire room, which is why the walls are looking so pretty right now. Throwing around the idea of doing a stamp on the wall, repeating pattern kind of thing. Amongst my many abandoned hobbies, I used to be really into the lino cutting and I still have all the materials, so I think I can probably make a stamp out of that old stuff. I don't want it to look even either. I want it to be slightly misaligned with each other. I don't know why, I just feel like that would look nicer. Lino printing 101. You draw out what you want to print, then you gouge out everything you don't want to print. Thank you for attending my online course. All reviews are greatly appreciated. Little stamp all carved out, and I'm just gonna be brushing on some gold paint onto the stamp and then applying it on the wall. And I'm doing this section first because this is covered by the mirror, so if they don't look good, at least I will know before I do it where it will actually be visible. I really hope this works. I don't have a plan B. Well, that's a faded version. I need significantly more paint. Noted. I like that one. That one worked. Oh, I'm gonna like this. This is gonna look really cool. See why I wanted it stamped? You wouldn't get that look with spray paint. Note to self, if you put too much on, it'll drip. Now, question is that a problem that I need to fix, or can we just say that it's part of the aesthetic? We did, it's part of the aesthetic now. It's part of the aesthetic. I love these stamps so incredibly much. They have completely transformed the space and I'm so excited to see the rest of the room come together now. Gonna go ahead and call this the first casualty of the project. It will be missed. The agenda for today is all things foam. The plan is to carve some arches out of these and then glue them into each of those panels. We took a little trip to this really beautiful cathedral and I took loads of reference pictures of lots of the arches they had carved in the walls. I'm loosely thinking I'm going to put some themes into it as well. I've never actually used foam clay before, so I'm really excited to try it out. I am, however, very aware that I am not good at sculpting things. One of those areas where I've just never been particularly good at it, which is fine because you can't be good at everything and I'm going to do it anyway. Taking great comfort in knowing that all of this is going to be painted black. It won't necessarily be like stand out on show, so it's okay if they don't turn out fantastically. That covers the rough shape that I want it to have. I want this bit of the arch to be done with one sheet of foam, and then this bit I want to be raised higher, so I'm going to do that with 2 sheets of foam. This is the area where we're going to put some of the intricate details in, and that should work. And hopefully not be too much of a complete pain in the butt. It was. I'm finding myself with nowhere to work because my studio is piled with all of the stuff from/for the bedroom. Because I'm doing it in 2 layers, I'm doing the bottom layer first and then the very top corner arches I'll go and do afterwards. I now have the 4 foundation bases of the arches cut out, and I'm about to cut out the second layer now, but before I do, can we just appreciate how adorable they look? I wonder if other adults dress up their foam scraps like hobbits. This was definitely a mistake. I've humanized them now, and now I've got to cut them up. Look away, Mr. Frodo. I used contact spray adhesive to glue the foam up, and as soon as I started using it, I realized how chemically toxic the smell was, so I busted out the old respirator mask. Love it. Now for the part where we learn how hard it's going to be to get these doors off. Ooh, it would help if all of my screwdrivers weren't worn to sugar. I said sugar because I use them too much. Well, it's definitely not the easiest task, but it's doable. Get this downstairs. I had no idea how much this stuff is just forbidden marshmallow. I started with hiding the cut edges of the foam and framing the pieces I had already glued on, trying my best to follow the same design in my reference pictures. Then moving on to the individual designs, this door was my one and I decided to give it a fairy tale theme, and due to my limited sculpting ability, I tried my best to have minimal handcrafted elements and fill most of the space with the stamped leaves. Look how insanely beautiful that is. We have our little peas in a pot for Princess and the Pea, and a pumpkin for Cinderella. Whilst it is very, very pretty, and I love it so very much, it has taken me 5 hours to do 1 door, and I've got 3 more to do. Try and get 1 more done today. The other 2 will have to be done tomorrow. It's definitely worth the time. I'm just starting to feel the stress a little bit with how much I've got left to do on the room as a whole, and how long these have to dry, and then how many layers of seal and primer and paint needs to go on them as well. Then they also need to dry before they can go back up, and it's all just, timeline is falling apart in my brain. Good morning! I was up extremely late last night doing the carvings on the second door. I have now got 2 doors done, and I've got 2 doors left. Circling back around to those this afternoon / this evening, I want to be able to get some other things around the room done this morning. Starting with putting the brackets up on the red wall. I would like to have that false imagining of making some significant progress visually, so I want some stuff up on the wall. More importantly, I need to put the curtains up to test how they look so I can figure out what trims and or tassels might look good on the curtains. Another reason I'm not putting the curtains up properly yet is because they've got this type of back, which means I've got absolutely no way of connecting that to the pole. Stitch some kind of ties or loops or something at some point so I can put them up properly. But for now, just so I can get the visual idea and make a decision on trims, I'm going to be using my backdrop clips to just hold them to the pole. That, but if it was put up well. This is going to be unbelievably awesome when it's all up. I love it. These are all of my options just from the stash. Based on sheer quantity, my best bets are either the green or the slightly pink toned one. And looking at the colour palette we have up here, I'm thinking the pink toned one because there's a lot of nice little pink tones in the tapestry. This one is going to go very nicely. Also, we've got a bag of tassels that I can also spread out across it as well. The only other thing I want to do up here today before I go back to doing the foam work on the wardrobe doors is I want the trim around the edge of the door. Relatively simple enough job. I've got the pieces downstairs. I just need to cut them to size, do the 45-degree angles so they can join up, and then I'm just going to no-nails it on. I ran into a slight hitch. I measured up the wood and it turns out we didn't actually buy enough trim to go around the door, but I have a solution. I'm gonna leave a little gap in the trim here because I'm only 30 centimeters short, and then I'm gonna use the foam clay to create some kind of carving. I haven't worked out what yet, but that's future me's problem. And yeah, we're just gonna pretend like that was the plan all along. Yes, I used my head as another point to hold it in place.
A few minutes later.
There was only one section of the wood that wouldn't stay down, so I had to put a quick nail in it. The rest of it held down fine with the no nails though. Good morrow, my fair subjects. Guess who's back in her paint clothes? The sculpting for the wardrobe and the little detail above the door is finally finished. We got all of that done last night. We have door 1, the fairy tale door. Door 2, the English heritage door featuring a dragon and oak leaves. Door 3, the Scottish heritage door featuring thistles and a kelpie. And door 4, the Tolkien door featuring a Lothlorien leaf, and I don't remember what these are called, so I'm going to put it on the screen. 2 of the doors have already been sealed, so the first thing I'm going to do today is get those primed outside before the rain comes. The other 2 doors, the foam needs longer to dry before I can seal it, so I can't prime them yet. After I do that and we come back inside, my focus for the day is going to be keying all of the skirting and the door in here, and then getting all of that painted black, which I'm assuming is going to take me most of the day because jobs like that usually do. You know those picture puzzle games where you've got to spot like 5 objects within this very cluttered room? I just played the real life version of that, trying to find the respirator mask. I spent 20 minutes just circling around every room in the house trying to spot where I put it, and it was just in plain sight. It took me that long to see where it was amongst the clutter. I set up in the garden to get the prime coats on, and no, I don't think I'll ever finish painting the fence. It's been 2 years. Also, sleeves on jumpsuits make great bonus pockets. I used some no-nails to stick the foam panel up, and then went in with some filler to smooth the transition from the trim onto the carving, and then seal the gaps in the corners too. I had to let these set for 24 hours before painting over them. For this design, I was inspired by the story of the Holly King and the Oak King. I was going to assemble the small cabinet next, but then we decided to give it a quick stain first instead, a job which I delegated to Daniel. When it came to adding the black on, I had some issues with the spray bottles. I couldn't get it to press down without tremendous force. I tried the second can and had the exact same issue. As I couldn't get them to work, I used all the force I had just to spray the foam areas, as that was the important part, and then I used the black furniture paint from the skirting in the door to paint the rest. And no, I definitely do not want to talk about how when Dan did the 3rd and 4th doors a few days later, he actually read the instructions on the can, and it tells you to pop this little disc out and then put the nozzle back on, and then it works fine. And from the grave she rises. For context, I've been ill for a few days and basically on my deathbed, but I used the time wisely and I got a lot of sewing done with the curtains. All of the black paint has been fully completed. There has been a change of plan though. For this wall behind me, I've got these frames and they just match the room way too perfectly to not use in here. And as we are now having frames up, that meant we got to pick 2 paintings to print off, which I will be Mod Podging this morning. And these are the paintings that we picked. Try to find paintings that had some slight resemblance to ourselves. So we're gonna go with the whole immortal vibes, and these are portraits of us that were taken centuries ago. Straight after that, we're gonna be putting the doors back on the wardrobe, which I am so excited to see those put into place. Let's get to work. I'm very over this open wardrobe system we've had going for the past week. Let's go put some doors on. This is Dan's door. It's the Tolkien one. He made it himself and he put so much detail into it, he really put me to shame with the rest of them. Balancing these doors on my foot in case anyone was wondering. It hurts. Last one. My arm aches and my foot hurts, but at least it looks good. Time to start marking up the wall, drill holes, put the frames and the shield up. I can do this. I had a little bit of trouble drilling this wall. It's incredibly soft compared to the other ones in the house, so when I went to put the wall plugs in, they kept coming loose instead of being wedged in like they're supposed to. Luckily, everything I was putting up was incredibly lightweight, so I ignored it because nothing fell off, so good enough. I don't think there's much else I can do today unless I'm just forgetting about some major step, so I think I'm just going to go back to sewing the curtains and then we will continue with the finishing touches tomorrow. Can you believe we are on the last day of the project? I can. This has been a very long week for me. I have bought these black sticky tape trim things. I want to make the mirrors look kind of like windows, and I'm going to put a diamond pattern across these. I'm comforted by the knowledge that a lot of medieval stuff is fairly uneven, so I don't have to worry about these diamonds being too consistent. I also don't know if I ordered enough, because it's one of those things where you don't know how much to order, so I guessed. It didn't exactly work out for me with the door trim, so we'll see. The whole measuring them thing went out the fake medieval window so very quickly. Focusing so much on the measurements meant they started to go lopsided, so I decided I was better off eyeballing it instead. That wasn't necessarily the case, but I made my choice. I can't believe it. I had exactly enough to complete both of them. I have absolutely none left. I really thought I was gonna have to order more. The only thing with doing that is each time I peeled the tape off, it curled and pinged back at my hand and the edges were very sharp. So now I have loads of little nicks and cuts across my fingers. I'm so wounded. What do we think? I personally like it very, very much. It makes me very, very happy. I can't stop smiling at it all. Even though there were a couple of hiccups along the way, like the spray can incident, the loss of the lamp. I really love this room. Medieval castlecore vibes have been achieved. There's still a few things left to do, like the shield is currently blank. We do have a design in place already. Way back, I can't remember when, Dan designed us our own personalized heraldry. Didn't want to do it in this video though, because I want to actually take my time with it and do it as good as I can get it to look. And whilst we're on the topic of other things I would like to do with the room, it is so far-fetched and so unrealistic, but technically possible. I really want to put some stained glass in here, specifically over the window. This creator over on Instagram, the sweetest, most wholesome, bubbly person ever. And it's really bugging me that I can't remember what her account is called right now. She made some shutters out of these old stained glass panels, and I really want to do that in here. And to be even more unrealistic on top of that, I've always wanted to give glasswork a try, so I kind of want to make my own stained glass windows to then put in the shutters that I also make myself to then mount over the windows. Super unrealistic, but I would love to do it. On a slightly less unrealistic note, we really want to swap the light in here because it completely ruins the vibe, which is irritating. Another idea we had for an upgrade, make a custom carved panel to go above the door as well. Extend that height of the door to go all the way to the ceiling. Anyway, enough babbling about upgrades I may or may not ever get around to. I am very happy with this room and I really enjoyed putting it all together, even though it did definitely get exhausting at points. I genuinely really hope you guys enjoyed this video because I do love doing the DIY ones. And for my next project, I recently put a poll in my community tab asking you guys to vote which of these options you would like me to make for my next crown project. The winner was Queen Victoria's Sapphire Coronet. Beautiful choice, do not blame you. Blue stones have been very hard to source. I did manage to find some, but they are going to take a while to get here. The vibe we will be bringing to my next video instead of making a crown is fairy tale. I'm actually really excited to do this one. My Instagram people already know this because I told you guys a while ago. Just so everybody on the channel knows. Honestly, I'm really into the whole castlecore stuff. I'm really enjoying this trend this year. Probably gonna see a few projects of that theme and nature from me over the summer. Also, I'm going to Ren Fair this year, which is my first time going, and I'm very excited. And I'm very in the mood for all of this stuff. I forgot to say goodbye to you all, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. You know I love to chat with you all. Thank you so much for all of your love and support, as always, and I will see you all in my next video. This is why I couldn't be a princess. I'd die. Dan and I took a... Dan and I... What can I speak? It's fine. It was more just a noise to scare the frickin' life out of me than anything else. First right... I can't talk anymore. Already filmed my intro, but I forgot to turn the mic on, so now I've got to do it again. Love it when that happens. What am I talking about?